All right. Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. So, before we started tonight, I want to try something out. I want all of you to imagine a circle. Okay, so visualize a circle. Now, answer this question. Where is the circle? Where is that circle? It's in your mind, right? It's not inside your brain, right? Because if we looked inside your brain with the brain scan, we wouldn't be able to find the circle or your mind. So where does your mind exist? Where is it? Does it have a physical location? Is it even in the same dimension as our reality? We all understand that we have a mind, but how can you see it? How do you know where it is? This is the koan I'm giving you tonight. Before we meditate, I want you to ask yourself that question. What is your mind? So before we start tonight, I'm going to go over that breathing technique again. So that this is a breathing technique that can help you relax and prepare your body for meditation. So we're just going to start by breathing a little bit slower and a little bit deeper than you usually do. Visualize your heart in the center of your chest as you breathe. As you listen to me, I want you to slow down your breath a little bit more and breathe a little bit deeper. Feel your breath coming through your nose, through your mouth, collecting all the energy from your brain and moving it from your head into your heart. Imagine now that you're breathing with your heart. The purpose of this is to try to align your mind, heart, and body. You can also place your hand on your heart and close your eyes if it makes it easier. And just keep breathing like this as I talk. This is a technique that you can use to relax or reset yourself whenever you feel nervous or anxious, or whenever you feel like you need to switch gears from activities that you're doing throughout the day. You can use it when you wake up, before you enter a stressful meeting, before you go to sleep, or before you meditate. So just take a few more deep breaths. Get started. So tonight when we meditate, we'll sit facing the wall and we'll have our legs crossed. Our hands will be right hand, left hand, touching your thumbs, centered in your lap. You want to keep your neck and your back straight. Your eyes are going to be closed, but if they were open, they'd be looking at the ground at a 45-degree angle. And if you get uncomfortable, you can stand up and stretch out. Just try to be respectful of everyone around you meditating. In traditional Zen meditation, we use a mantra to clear our mind. The mantra is the focal point of meditation, usually a word or a phrase that's repeated in your mind. If you try not to think, thoughts inevitably will come into your mind. By focusing on the mantra, you can use it to push out all of the other thoughts. As you meditate, concentrate on your mantra. If another thought comes into your mind, try to let it go and return to focusing on your mantra. A good mantra to use during meditation practice is Kwansam Bosal. Kwansam Bosal is the name of the Bodhisattva of love and compassion in Korean Zen. Often depicted with thousands of eyes and thousands of hands. She's said to be able to see the suffering of everyone and to help out those who call her name. So with that, we'll stand up and turn around and face the wall and meditate for about 20 minutes or so. So, were you able to clear your mind a little bit tonight while you were meditating? that circle we talked about at the beginning of class, is that still there? It's interesting because you can completely clear out your mind during meditation. And then after I mention it, you can bring that circle right back into your imagination. How does this happen? Where did it go? What is the mind and how can it do this? It's kind of interesting. The mind is empty. It's not empty like this room or a big building. You know, if you have enough stuff, enough things, you could fill those up. So the mind is a completely different and unique kind of emptiness. No matter what you put in your mind, it's still empty. You put the circle in it, you put your friends, your family, everyone you've ever known, and every place you've ever been, and it still weighs the same. It's empty. You can also clear your mind so there's nothing there, just emptiness. But then you can still bring anything back that you ever put into it. You can bring it back in an instant. That's an amazing power if you think about it. It's better than any magic. Your mind is so powerful. You can use it to study things that are too tiny for your eyes to see. You can also use it to study the vast expanse of the universe. If you knew where to go, you could send your mind out into space, back through time, all the way to the beginning of the universe. That's pretty amazing. We use mathematics to understand everything we know about the universe beyond what we can see and observe. Mathematics is a universal language of the mind. We use it to rationalize and account for situations that we can only imagine. So if you think about the mind in mathematical terms, it's infinite, it's empty, and it's eternal. Now this takes us back around to the circle. The number 0 is a circle. It represents nothing or emptiness. So perhaps we can use this concept to help us understand our mind. In truth, a perfect circle doesn't exist in nature, but we can see circles everywhere. A circle is a mathematic and geometric concept of our minds that we use to approximate and understand things that we see in reality. In Zen, the circle is a powerful symbol, and I like to use it as a way to teach some of the important lessons. In Zen Buddhist philosophy, there's a saying, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. What does that mean? It's a koan, a question that seems to be a contradiction, but it's meant to help us find a deeper meaning. So what does it mean? Today I've been using the form of a circle to teach you about the emptiness of your mind. Everything or form you see is inseparable from the emptiness all around and inside of it. Like two sides of a coin. You can't have one side without the other. Form and emptiness depend on each other in the same way. Your thoughts form out of the emptiness, and then they disappear and go back into the emptiness. Thoughts come and go. Your body right now, it has a shape and a form, but eventually it will return to the emptiness after you die. All of these ideas and everything you experience in reality goes into your mind and it's there forever. But your mind is still empty. It's completely fascinating if you think about it. There's always a give and take between form and emptiness. The same as when your body takes a breath, you have to give it back. If you try to hold your breath for too long, you'll die, and you still have to give it back. It's the same as with food and water. The more you, whatever you take in, you'll eventually have to give it back. The more you take, the more you have to give back. That's how karma works. Keep this in mind when you live your life. Whatever you take or use, you'll have to give that back. If you take too much and you try to hold on to it for too long, it becomes like a weight you carry around. You create a debt in your karma that you'll need to pay back. Also, if your hands are full all the time, it's impossible to pick anything else up. Think of it like this. If your cup is already overflowing and someone offers you a drink of something that you really need, you won't be able to take it. That's why it's best to try to keep this in balance. Give and take. It also works in the opposite direction. The more you give, the more that will come back to you. But don't hold on to anything for too long. Only take what you need and give away what you don't need anymore. If everyone does this, then when you need something, it will always be there for you. If you're always helping other people, when you really need help, somebody will reach out. You spend all day putting things in your mind. That's why it's important to meditate on a regular basis, to keep your mind clear and empty. If you're thinking too much, it can feel like your mind is full and heavy. So meditation helps you to clear your mind. Then you can think clearly and you can put more into your mind. It's kind of like a chalkboard in a classroom. If you keep writing on a chalkboard and don't erase it, eventually everything you're trying to learn will become a jumbled mess. If you erase the chalkboard every once in a while, then you can see what you're trying to learn more clearly. Meditation is like erasing the chalkboard. After you clear the chalkboard, you're ready to learn something new, and it's easier to process all of the information that's coming your way. Everything in this material world is kind of like the writing on a chalkboard. It's only temporary, and over time, it fades into the emptiness. The truth is that everything that exists in the universe is transitory. So don't become too attached to anything. This is another reason why we meditate. It helps us to become less attached. This helps us let go of our ego, our opinions, our desires. This practice will help you prepare for the moment when you die and you have to give your body back to the emptiness. If you practice letting go of yourself while you're alive, you'll know how to do it when you die, and it won't be so shocking and scary. If you try to understand and live by what I just told you, it won't be a big deal. It'll just be another step in the same direction that you've always been going. If you've been taking steps towards heaven or nirvana in your life, the next step after you die, it'll be in the same direction. When you die, you're just completing another circle. Like a planet in orbit, you complete the circle of life. Each life forms a circle, then it returns to the emptiness. So are you noticing a pattern here? Now imagine that circle again. Draw the circle in your mind. Now tell me, what's the color of that circle? Any others? Whatever that color of the circle is in your mind right now, you can that's the color of your mind right now. Whatever the color of the circle is. And you can change that color anytime, as long as you're not attached to it. So now allow your mind to trace around the perimeter of the circle. The circle is a form. The space inside of that form is nothing, or emptiness. The emptiness inside the circle is the same emptiness that's outside of the circle. It's all connected.
I actually wasn't envisioning a circle as this was just a ring. So it's like a white ring, empty the whole time. Like,
Okay. I think that's basically the same thing. Yeah. So all of that emptiness that's inside of the circle, it's the same as this emptiness outside of the circle. It's all connected. The circle is just in our imagination. The emptiness is within everything and around everything. It's infinite and eternal. The emptiness in your circle is the same emptiness that's in my circle. That emptiness is what connects us all. That emptiness is the same emptiness that's within our minds. This is the reason I've committed my life to teaching, because I want everybody to realize that we're all connected to each other, and we're inherently connected to our world and our universe. Understanding this has changed my life, and it made me realize that I'm a part of something bigger than myself. Our fates are intertwined with the universe and everyone around us. When day-to-day life gets difficult, I actually find it comforting to know that everything, including our suffering, is only temporary. Truly understanding this has alleviated all of my anxiety and depression. It's informed my decisions and made me prioritize keeping my mind clear. That's helped me navigate my life. This brings me a sense of peace no matter what happens. Now, I just want to help other people understand. I want to share what I've learned from my own experiences. When you radiate love and help others by acting with compassion, you can shine a light on our world that's as bright as the sun. We all possess this amazing power within our mind. I only want to illuminate the path so that others can find their way. You don't need me to show you the path to heaven, but you do need to find the light within yourself if you want to find the way. Meditation will help you to stay on this path. So try to meditate at least a little bit every day so you can keep taking steps in the direction you want to go. Do it on the good days when it's easy, and especially do it on the bad days when it gets difficult. Don't give up or stop. Keep trying. Keep going one step at a time until you reach your destination. I wish all of you good luck in this journey. Thank you for coming tonight. There's a few minutes left. I can definitely answer questions. Does anybody have any questions or anything you want me to talk about more?
I didn't really see a circle.
You didn't see a circle?
I was really trying to. I think I was looking too close. It was like out here.
Did you close your eyes, or were you trying to do it with your eyes open?
But mostly close.
That's puzzling.
I think I was too close to the circle. That's all I saw was the circle. It was just like
Okay.
Like,
Well, it's just
definitely saw emptiness. So,
well, that was the point.
exactly.
So that's one of the reasons we use a form, because like if you just try to imagine emptiness, it's hard to fathom. But if you draw a circle, then you all of a sudden you put a circle around the emptiness, and then you can see what it is. So that's kind of where I use that with form and emptiness, so that it helps. Having a form helps you see the emptiness. That's why I say having an art form or something else you like, that helps you see the emptiness too. My first form was martial arts. So that when I did martial arts, that form, it would help me clear my mind. So by doing that, I'd focus on that and my mind would become clear. Same way we use a mantra, which is a word, which is almost like a thought, but we use that form to push everything else out of your mind and make your mind empty.
So you can still I guess that's what from that appeared to me, you're still putting pain, right? But you're just focusing on one.
Yeah. So you're using a thought and focusing on that to push all of the other thoughts out. Thinking.
Could it be anything?
It could. Yeah. It could be anything. I think different forms of meditation use different things. Some people say concentrate on your breath. Other people, other religions, they repeat prayers sometimes. So I think those are different forms of mantra. When I was doing martial arts practice a lot, I used the visualization of the choreography of the martial arts as my mantra. So it's good to, you can try different things and see what works for you. I would suggest something that evokes good energy towards you. Don't focus on something that gives you anxiety or something like that. But I think Kwanzaa and Bosal. That's why I recommend that, because that's known to always bring good energy towards you. The other bodhisattva up there is Jijang Bosal, and that's the bodhisattva of earth. And that is not always pleasant when you meditate using that. It has a lot of earth energy in there, and so earth has good and bad. So I don't usually give that to someone as a mantra to start with. Yes, so you can use anything. The idea is you get beyond your thoughts, though, to a place where your mind's completely clear. It's hard to do because when you're alive, you're always going to get signals from your body, and that's what stimulates thoughts. You get a pain in your leg and you start thinking about that, or an itch on your eye or something. The idea is just to practice trying to push all of that out and clear your mind. And I've talked about before, I like to use art forms or, activities, things that you're doing. Those things should ultimately become your mantra, so that you learn how to turn your actions into your mantra. So that when you're doing something, there's no thinking between your mind when you're doing and what you're doing. So when you're eating, you just want to focus on eating and not thinking about what else is going on in your life, and I've had a lot of, before I started meditating, I had moments of clarity that came from doing like sports and stuff like that. So when you're playing a sport and you're really focused on, scoring a goal and getting by a defender or something like that, there's no time to think about anything. And that kind of forces you into that. And so that's, I think, sometimes described as like the flow state. So I think you can get into a flow state doing anything, including eating or, uh, biking, doing art is where I also get that a lot. Writing. So I think it's something you can practice. So meditation's a way we kind of practice using the mantra to clear our mind, and then we try to extend that to other parts of our life. And then when your mind is clear, you still think, but the idea is that you want your thoughts to be clear. You don't want to keep putting all your thoughts on a chalkboard that's filled with writing. Then it becomes really hard to understand, what the best course of action is, how to navigate whatever situation is in front of you. If your mind is clear, and I mean really clear, the first thought that comes or the first impulse you have will most likely be the right impulse, or you'll take the right action, and sometimes you'll notice when you're doing things and you start to think about something else, that's when you make a mistake doing the thing you're doing. And so that's just an example of how your thoughts can interfere with what's actually happening in this moment, because thoughts are always about the past or someplace else or something else that's not going on. If you're thinking about intensely about the moment, I think that means you're in this moment. And that's the idea. You want to live your life moment to moment. And that doesn't mean, don't plan ahead for things or, don't be strategic about what you do, but it's just about trying to clear your mind so that you can make better decisions. So everybody thinks, even you can't help but think. It's just an idea. The idea is just to get really good and not holding on to it, so that when something real is happening in front of me, my mind is not living in the past or living in the future. It's focused 100% on what I'm doing. And so if you're, focused on planning something out you want to do, that I think that you're still focused on your life in that moment. I don't, it's a little confusing. It's a little,
so like when I meditate, sometimes like I'll do my whatever mantra, and then I'm not really thinking, but my mind wanders or like daydreams, and things pop in that I would never really think about, like random things, like people I've never seen before, like just something like I don't know, like a vision or something, a daydream.
yeah, I think,
like, what is that? Because I'm not thinking, it's just like coming in there.
yeah, I think, see, I just said I think, but no, just, I would say take note of that.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh, let's hear that.
Just,
Refocus.
I think sometimes in meditation, you can have realizations that are important. So that's why I say take note of it, but don't become too attached. And still, when you're meditating, try to keep clearing your mind. The idea is to just practice letting go of all of that. So when your mind becomes clear of all of your thoughts, and you realize, if you theoretically, you realize your mind is completely free from your ego, your opinion, and your desire. In that moment, you won't even realize you have a body because you're completely not attached to it anymore. That's the same as like when you die, you don't have a body anymore. And so that's when I was saying, that will prepare you for that. If you just die all of a sudden, it will seem shocking and you won't know what's going on. But if you've been practicing that your whole life, then you understand that realm. And it may sound a little strange, but like I said, your mind is infinite and it's eternal. Your body has a time. Everybody starts sometime and it leaves sometime. It doesn't matter if you have enlightenment or not. Your body only has a set period of time it's around for. But your mind and the material, it goes out into the universe. It scatters into molecules and atoms. But where does your mind go? That's why if you meditate, you can figure that out. If you get really deep into your meditation. And yeah, because we say, this comes back to that form and emptiness a little bit. When I think most people's perception, when I talk to people about the mind and where's the mind, and if people usually give me some answer they didn't consider too long, they didn't think about it too deeply. Most people say their brain, right? So they think that their mind is in their brain. And I think most people think their mind is in their body, right? You pinch your finger and it feels like your mind is in your finger all of a sudden. So most people, their perception tells them that their mind is in their body. That emptiness of your mind is in your body, but it's also everywhere. And so just like the circle, the emptiness is in the middle, but the emptiness is all around. And so in a certain sense, your body is actually in your mind. The same way you can look at Jason and put Jason in your mind. When you look in the mirror, you put your body in your mind. So that those are like two things you can't really separate. They're both true. But when you die, everything that you put in your mind is still there, but your body's not there anymore. And that's one of the reasons I think, meditation just prepares you for everything. And not being attached, it prepares you for, if your mind is clear, it prepares you if you're walking down the street and someone is going to try to attack you, you'll sense it. You'll see something coming down the sidewalk and you'll say, oh, I should cross over to the other side of the street. And if you do that, you'll never know that person was even trying to assault you. But your mind gave you a feeling and you felt it and you moved and you reacted to it because your clear mind is telling you what to do. And that's just one example. And you've probably had that experience where you felt something and you reacted to it. And it wasn't a logical thing necessarily, but I think that happens to everybody. And you don't even know how many times your mind might have saved you. Just subconsciously. That's why I just try to teach about the mind, because I think it's something everybody has and everybody knows it. If I ask these questions, everybody says, yeah, it's in my mind. But then nobody pays attention, nobody studies it. And so they don't understand even like the most essential thing about who they are.
That way, I feel like weird.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, other people, what they see when they say I can read your mind. That's an expression. But I think like uh I can, I mean, you probably can too, but you can look at somebody and tell what they're thinking because their body starts to give it away.
Like my husband, I always know what he's gonna say or do. Sometimes I'll think of something and so then he'll say it.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people tell me that people speak to them through their mind. Like someone told me, one of my friends, we were with our other friend who meditates a lot, and he studies a different kind of meditation. But he said he didn't move his lips, but he told him to pick up something and hand it to him, and he just did. He never said anything. So he claims that another person spoke to him and told him, and then he was just like, and when he handed it to him, he said, "Thank you." So I can't explain that, nor do I claim to have that ability, but I don't actually, I don't doubt it's possible. I've had experiences, this is one I have had it more than once, and I think I've said it before, but where maybe you miss somebody and you think about them a lot, and then the next day they call or something like that. You wonder, you have to wonder, did that message get through or something? I've also had people claim that I contacted them in their dreams or their meditation. And that's actually true. One day I was training here and I had started thinking about someone, that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I was just like, I wonder what she's doing. And then like 2 days later, she left me a message that I didn't actually see right away, but when I responded to her, she said she was contacted in her meditation and told to contact me. That's what she said. And I had been thinking about her. I wasn't saying like trying to send a message, but she got a message, and I was curious like what was going on. So I don't doubt, that there is, the mind's a powerful thing. I think, and I think we're all connected. So I wouldn't doubt if you can get those messages. I don't think you probably get them all the time, but if your mind's not clear, it's probably being crowded out by thoughts and other things and everything that's going on in front of you at that moment. Those are the things that your brain tends to prioritize, the things that are stimulating your senses. But I think if you're clear, your mind can tell you all kinds of things that are useful, But I think also, if your mind isn't clear, you can think a lot of stuff that's just junk, that's not good for you, So you got to be careful. That's why I think the meditation is important, because it keeps everything clear. And then you're not worried about the thoughts that are maybe tumbling around in your head and building up steam. Maybe they aren't so good because you've been, cogitating on them so much. You've been chewing them in your brain so much, and then something little can snowball into something bigger. But if you meditate and clear your mind, and it comes back, maybe it is something you need to pay attention to. But yeah, in different parts of my life, I've made mistakes because I thought about something too much, where like something got under your skin and irritated you, or like, driving in traffic, someone cuts you off. They just made a mistake, but sometimes Like it can get you really upset.
Yeah.
And I've seen people do crazy stuff, like where I know someone cut somebody off, which was dangerous, but it was a mistake. But then the person behind them gets so upset that they almost cause another accident, and then they do something even crazier, so like that's the kind of stuff. If you're really good at just flushing out all your feelings, you won't make that mistake. Like that could hurt a bunch of people, including yourself. And I think if you were clear, you would say, oh, forget about that person. I hope they don't make that mistake and hurt somebody else. That's probably the right reaction. So, any more questions? You can ask. We're a little past 8, so I don't want to keep anybody longer than they were planning on being here. But I like the questions. If you have more questions, or if you want to ask me in advance, then I can make sure I give you a good answer.
That was a good job.
Awesome session.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming too.